You close your laptop. The workday is over. But your brain? Your brain is still going. Replaying that meeting, worrying about tomorrow's deadline, remembering the email you forgot to send. So you sit on the couch, you scroll your phone, you put on Netflix, you try to relax. But you can't. Your mind won't stop. Your body made it home, but you? You're still at the office. Sound familiar? Here's the thing. This isn't stress. This isn't anxiety. This is your brain stuck in work mode, and it has no idea how to switch off. And in Japan, they figured out how to fix exactly this. Not with meditation apps, not with breathing exercises, with a simple after-work routine that genuinely shuts your brain down. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what they do and why it works when everything else has failed you. Because the problem was never that you need to relax more. The problem is your brain doesn't actually believe the workday is over. So why does this even happen? Because modern work never really ends. 100 years ago, work had edges. You left the factory, you left the office, and when you left, work was done. You couldn't carry it with you. But now, work lives in your pocket, on your phone, inside your head. There's no physical separation. No single moment where work definitively stops. So your brain never gets the signal that says, "Okay, we're done. You can power down now." Instead, it stays alert, on guard. Because what if an email comes in? What if your boss needs something? Your brain treats your whole evening like an extended coffee break, not real rest. And when your brain doesn't switch off, your body can't recover. Your sleep gets worse. Your energy drops, stress piles up, and over time, you burn out. Not because you worked too hard, but because you never actually stopped. So here's what Japan does differently. They don't try to force their brains to relax. They build transitions. Clear, physical, ritual transitions that tell the brain work is over. Because your brain doesn't respond to decisions. It responds to cues. You can decide, "I'm relaxing now." But if nothing actually changes around you, your brain doesn't buy it. It needs physical proof that the mode has shifted. You can't flip a switch from high alert straight to deep rest. But you can walk down a staircase. And that's all this routine really is. A staircase down, away from work. First step, leave work at work. When you leave the building, work stays in the building. Now, if you work from home, this is harder, I know. But the principle still holds. You need a physical boundary. So, close your laptop. Put it in a drawer, in another room, out of sight. Because every time you see it, your brain thinks, "We might need to work." And it stays switched on. The simple act of closing and removing your work device sends a message. Work is contained. Work is done. Work is not here anymore. This sounds small. It isn't. Your brain is constantly scanning your environment for cues, and the moment the work cue disappears, it finally starts to let go. Second step, change your clothes. In Japan, a lot of people change out of their work clothes the second they get home. Not into pajamas, into home clothes. Why does this matter so much? Because your brain ties your work clothes to work mode. While you're wearing them, you're in work mode, even when you're sitting on the couch doing nothing. But when you change, you hand your brain another signal. The uniform is off. We're in a different mode now. This is why athletes have pre-game rituals. Why surgeons scrub in. Clothing is a powerful psychological cue. It was never about the clothes themselves. It's about the act of changing. That moment of shift. Most people skip this entirely, then wonder why they can't unwind.
Third step. Wash your hands and your face. Not a full shower, just cool water. Intentional. And this does two things. First, it's another physical transition. Another clear signal that you're moving from one mode into another. Second, it's actually calming. Cool water on your face switches on your parasympathetic nervous system.
your rest and digest system. Your heart rate slows, your breathing deepens. It's called the mammalian dive reflex, and it's one of the fastest ways to calm your nervous system. But beyond the biology, there's the ritual, the act of washing the day off. Most people go straight from work to the couch, no pause, no reset. Washing your hands and face is a 60-second transition, and it changes how the entire rest of your evening feels. Fourth step, take a short walk. In Japan, there's a name for this, the evening walk. Not exercise, just a gentle 10 to 20-minute walk after work, before dinner. Why? Because walking does something your brain can't do while sitting still. It processes. All day long, your brain piles up stress, decisions, half-finished thoughts. And if you go straight to the couch, it stays stacked up. But when you walk, your brain quietly starts sorting through it, unconsciously, naturally. This is the state where insights show up, where stress dissolves. You're not trying to solve anything, you're just walking, and your brain does the work for you. You don't need a destination, just walk, slowly. Notice the air, the sounds, the light. This isn't meditation, it's transition. And it's one of the most powerful steps in the whole routine. Fifth step, eat dinner, but not in front of a screen. In Japan, meals are often a moment of presence. You sit, you eat, you focus on the food. Why does this matter? Because eating in front of a screen keeps your brain in consumption mode. You're not resting. You're still taking in information, still reacting. But when you eat without screens, your brain has nothing to do but be present. And presence is restful. You taste the food. You eat slower. And that slowness tells your brain, we're not in a rush. We have time. This doesn't mean you eat in silence. You can talk. You can connect. But the key is no screens. Because multitasking, even the passive kind, keeps your brain switched on. And a switched-on brain doesn't power down. Sixth step, and this is the big one, the Japanese bath. In Japan, the evening bath isn't optional. It's a daily ritual. Hot water, a deep soak, 10 to 20 minutes every single night. And here's why it works. A hot bath forces your brain to stop. When you're sitting in hot water, you can't multitask. You can't check your phone. You can only sit there and breathe and be. And that forced stillness is what actually turns your brain off. But there's the biology too. When you sink into hot water, your core temperature rises. And when you climb out, it drops fast. That temperature drop triggers melatonin. It tells your brain, it's time to rest. Your brain can't stay in work mode when your body is in such a different state. And that's the secret. You're not trying to relax your brain. You're changing your body's state, and your brain follows along. This is the single most powerful step. And it's the one most people skip because they figure a shower does the same thing. It doesn't. A shower is functional. A bath is ritual. Seventh step. No screens for 60 minutes before bed. This one's hard, but it's necessary. Because screens keep your brain in work mode, even when you're just watching Netflix. Every notification, every scroll, all of it lights your brain back up. But when you put the screens away, your brain has nothing left to do, and it finally starts to wind down. So what do you do instead? Read a real book, journal, stretch, talk, sit in silence. Because the blue light suppresses melatonin, and melatonin is what makes you sleepy. But beyond the light, there's the content itself. When you're consuming, you're processing, reacting, engaging, and that keeps your brain active. So for 60 minutes before bed, no screens, just presence. and watch how different your sleep starts to feel.
So here's why this routine works when everything else has failed you.
Because it was never about willpower. It's about transitions. You can't force your brain to relax, but you can guide it down through clear, physical, ritual steps that signal we are done working. Leaving work behind, changing your clothes, washing your face, walking, eating mindfully, bathing, no screens. None of these are relaxation techniques. They're transitions, and transitions are what your brain has been craving. By the time you finish all 7 steps, you're not in work mode anymore. You're in rest mode. Not because you tried to relax, because you transitioned. So here's the truth. Your brain isn't broken. It isn't weak. It's just stuck. Stuck in work mode because you never gave it a way out. But the moment you build clear transitions, everything changes. Your evenings stop feeling exhausting. Your sleep improves. Your stress drops. Not because you're working less, but because you're finally, actually resting. And you don't need all 7 steps at once. Pick one, start there, then add another. Because switching your brain off was never about doing more. It's about transitioning better. If this changed the way you think about your evenings, hit subscribe. I break down the habits, the routines, and the science of how to actually rest. And let me know in the comments, which step are you going to try first?